Alright guys, here's a little bit different of a video for me to you guys. It's a thing I'm going to call a resource management guide for players. And this will help mostly beginners, but I think people who are having difficulty figuring out what to do with their crystals and jewels and everything else that they're gaining, maybe this will be a good guide to give them direction on where to go next. So we'll start in the beginning as a new player. Let's go ahead and zoom in here and we'll start right here. Okay, new player, just installed. Got Nissa, went through that little beginning training. First thing you want to do is go to play story mode. Just follow the arrows here. And what you want to avoid is spending crystals on any of the other Origins Planeswalkers. Those are the ones in the vault for 50 crystals, and B tier walkers and below. And if you don't know what that means, I have another video for you that you can check out that has all the Planeswalkers that I own ranked, and pretty much stay above B tier if you can. And spending on individual booster packs, those are the ones that are in the vault for 60 crystals or less, depending on which ones you're going for. But yeah, those ones that only give you one pack per purchase, always go for the premium packs. And then also playing Trials of the Plains until you're platinum tier. That's an event that you'll see that comes up daily, but the rewards are really bad for players above or under platinum tier, and you're going to run into a lot of really advanced high level players that will kill you really quickly. So don't do that until you know you can actually play through progression, because it costs crystals and you don't want to waste them there losing. So after you play story mode, you start to gain crystals. Save those crystals for planeswalkers first. Avoid buying the other Origins planeswalkers, as I said. And you want to pick up an S tier walker or S plus, except for Karn, Scion of Urza. And the reason you want to skip Karn, Scion of Urza is because he's colorless. So going through story mode with colorless walkers means you won't be able to get those crystals from winning a match in its specific color. So you want to be able to cover all 5 colors with your walkers as you go through story mode so that you can get the crystals. And that's one of the best and easiest ways to get crystals in the beginning. So here is a list of the walkers that you should target as a beginner, depending on what's in the vault. And the vault rotates every week. Thursday morning is when you get the new crop of walkers coming in. So if any of these are in the vault, I recommend you go for them. And of these, I would say Gar-Cursed Huntsman, Kasmina, Sarkhan, and probably Nicole Bolas, God Pharaoh. And then, of course, Ajani Invigorate Leadership. So if you do Ajani, Kasmina, and Nicole Bolas, that covers all 5 colors, and you can move on and continue to collect crystals. So once you get all those, then you can get Karn. And Karn is awesome because you can use all colors and you can create all sorts of great combos with a limited collection. And then we'll get into Discord and Coalition, but it's also very nice to go into Discord to get advice from your coalition mates on which planeswalkers to pick up and avoid. Let's go back up here. Let's follow the next arrow, play story mode, complete daily quests. You gain runes and you gain crystals, and you also gain packs, which I didn't have an arrow for, but the main thing, you're going to be doing this for the rest of the time you play the game, is you're going to gain crystals. I mean, a lot of things lead here because it's such an important currency in the game. Collecting the daily rewards, those are the ones that you get for logging in and collecting daily, and then those add up. So make sure you grab those every time, because it's just, if you're not, you're just leaving a lot of resources on the table. So gaining crystals. What do you do once you gain those crystals? Follow this arrow and save for a premium pack. And my recommendation is to buy one Origins premium pack at first, because those cards will always be usable, and there's some staple cards in there. There's stuff like Days Undoing, Hix's Prison Warden, some of the good creatures. There's Avaricious Dragon, although you can get that for free if you pick up Sarkhan. There's a handful of other really useful creatures in there. Okay, I just put this twice on accident, but buy one premium pack each of every standard set from newest to oldest. So right now, at the time of this recording, Streets of New Capenna is the newest set. So you want to buy at least one of those, but it's a really good set. So you honestly probably want to get a minimum of 3. I would say that before you get 3, you want to get one premium pack of the other sets that are in standard rotation. And then my recommendation is to buy no more than 5 premium packs per set, because you just get too many duplicates and the diminishing returns are too high. Let's go back up here. Okay, play Training Grounds. It might be a little tough at first, because sometimes in Bronze, where the tier that you're at, when you start, every so often you'll run into some really high level players. Maybe it's a new alt account or something, so it might be a little tough at first, but you also run into really like beginner decks. Like, I've noticed a lot of Nissa starter decks in Bronze tier, so that's really not that big of an issue. Especially if you get a Johnny, you can just blast through Training Grounds really quickly. Next, join the subreddit. So we're getting into out of the app things that you should be doing. So joining the subreddit means that it's going to be easy to find coalitions recruiting, and coalitions are always looking for new, good, dedicated players. So it's not going to be very hard to find a nice, active coalition. The problem with not going this route is relying on a random coalition to be actually active is really a fool's errand. So you're just way better off finding the active community. And I mean, if you're watching this video, you probably already did, but just in case, go ahead and join that subreddit. And then the subreddit that has a pinned thread that has links to join the Discord. So once you join Discord, you go in there and ask to join an active coalition. Somebody will point you to that one. And then from there, you'll gain all the knowledge from your coalition. They usually have their own private channels. And then there's all the public channels where you can also ask questions. And then from there, you also get access to weekly coalition events, which can be really huge, because even if you're not able to score a ton in the beginning, your coalition, as long as they're helping you, will also give you an advantage in collecting cards and all that. So from there, you can start to play the 2-week player versus player events and the 2-week, the boss battles, the PvEs. And then, so on the forum, if you go into the general discussion area, there's a weekly sneak peek where you can see what events you're going to play. And a lot of people are resistant to paying crystals to play an event, but the ones that you pay into pay out a lot more crystals. So for example, the ones that cost like 30 crystals just to play, those will give you back 80 crystals. So you're actually walking away from that with a net of 50 crystals just for going through progression. So just because it costs a lot to join those events doesn't mean that you won't get your crystals back and then some. And same thing with the 2-a-week PvE events. They're the best payout for crystals and other resources such as individual boosters, and they're the easiest battles to complete because they're always the same. There's no surprise. You pretty much always know what you're going up against, so you can adjust your deck accordingly. So once you start to do that, you'll start to gain packs. Okay, we could get into something else here. So let's go back to gaining crystals. Follow this arrow to buying cards from Fibblethip's Vault and S to S plus tier cards only. And I have a video on describing which cards those are in my opinion, but you should be pretty careful about buying cards from Fibblethip's Vault. Done correctly, you can get a major card advantage, which will really help you win a lot of your events. You just got to know which ones are worth actually getting. So that's another video. Okay, we gain packs, then we gain jewels. In bronze tier, all the way up to platinum tier, you're gonna gain jewels really slowly. When jewels first came out in the game, they were meant to be a currency for endgame players, so they're not meant to be easily acquired. However, there are ways to get them, and we'll get into that later. Save 120 jewels to pool. I mean, right now in standard, these are some must-have vanguards. And the only way to get these particular vanguards is to pull that slot machine lever and hope that you get one of the rare cards. You're not guaranteed a new card when you pull from a 120 jewel pack. So you get the rare Teferi and Tamio vanguards, which are going to give you a huge advantage in coalition play, especially. And so one thing that you can do when a new set comes out is if you have 240 jewels, it's nice to just spend a few pulls on the rare plus elite pack. That's this one with the 120 jewels, because you're least likely to get a duplicate right off the bat. You have a chance to get a mythic right out of the way. So it's kind of nice. Like you might get a good rare, you might get a good mythic. And then from there, you can save 400 jewels to pull from the non-dupe elite packs, and you are guaranteed to get either a new masterpiece or a new mythic. And usually the mythics are the ones you want, but sometimes there's some really good masterpieces, but not always. Okay, let's go back to our arrow. Let's follow that. As you gain packs, you'll get duplicates, which means you'll gain crafting orbs. And the way that I recommend you spend crafting orbs is by going to the booster crafting page and start with crafting origins rares. It costs, I believe, 500, or I think it's a little less than what a rare normally costs to craft, which is 600. But yeah, you craft your origins rares, you get all those out of the way, and there's some really good ones. There's Talent of the Telepath, Turn to Frog. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. Unholy Hunger, always going to be a useful card. And then from there you craft your Origins Mythics, and then once you're done crafting all your Origins Mythics, which will probably be a while though, you can craft Mythics and Rares from the newest craftable sets. So right now, Streets of New Capenna. The set before that is Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and it's going to be up to you if you decide that it's worth crafting those mythics. There's not a lot of great ones in that set in particular, so you can try and be smart about it and see if you want to craft the set before that, which is Crimson Vow, and that has a lot of really good mythics in it too. So let's go back, follow this arrow. Yep, you just build up your card and planeswalker collection. And this is a really important thing, and if you do this the wrong way, it can really stunt your growth in the game. But what you want to do is avoid tiering up in card mastery by only using the most effective cards in your collection. Because tiering up too early will put you at a disadvantage in PvP events and make it harder for you to gain more prizes because you'll be lower in the final rankings. The reason that happens is because you'll run into people who are at the higher end of their tier and they just have a lot bigger collection than you, and they probably have more experience in deck building. It's just going to be a lot harder to win battles at the beginning. So in order to make it a little bit easier for you to keep winning, you want to stay in bronze tier for a couple months if possible. Once you're done with that, you can advance to silver tier and you can start playing Zendikar expeditions if you want. And that's an event that's people say is a bit tedious, and it can be because if you're playing for objectives, it takes a lot of building and rebuilding decks, and you have to do it every time this event comes by, which is 3 times a week. So if you don't have a lot of planeswalkers and you don't have a lot of decks saved that you can dedicate to playing Zendikar expeditions, it can be a pain. However, it's a great way to pick up a lot of different resources. You can recoup your crystal cost and then some. You get jewels from playing it, and you get a pack and a guaranteed rare for going through progression. So it is worth playing, and it's really not that expensive of a buy-in. So to get a new pack and a rare just for going through it is not bad. Continue to gain those jewels, and after you've done all the other things from over here, you can save 400 jewels to pull from your non-dupe elite packs. Let's follow our arrow. Continue to play daily and collecting resources. So that means everything we were doing before, continue to do that. Another 1 to 3 months, you can advance to gold tier. Continue doing what you're doing. And then try to avoid advancing to platinum tier as long as you can, because that's where all the best players are. You can easily run the gamut in what you're going to run into, but you want to be competitive in coalition events in your tier. So you really want to keep collecting as much resources as you can, keep gaining those cards, and as long as you can delay your entry into platinum tier by about 3 months. So at this point, if all is going according to plan, you won't get to platinum tier until about 6 to 8 months of playing. And if you're doing things right, you're collecting all the right cards and everything, I don't think it'll be as scary as people make it seem. It does take some time to get used to all the actual gameplay of this game, such as, learning how to gem match, doing all that kind of thing, just knowing how to play your cards. So if you're getting really good at that, advancing to platinum tier is really not going to be as scary as it's all cracked up to be. And then once you get to platinum tier, you can finally start playing Trial of the Plains, and you'll be getting a lot more jewels for doing that. Also, you'll just be getting a lot more jewels and crystals in general from being in that tier anyway. So you'll find that you'll be able to collect jewels a lot quicker if you're playing all the events. And then platinum tier, you can keep building up your card and planeswalker collection and keep doing everything you're doing. So one thing I forgot to add to our flow chart here, and I would probably put it somewhere in this area, once you advance to silver tier, you have a decent enough collection, especially if you have a Johnny and Vigor at leadership. You can really start to win the PvE battles. But battles from the ages, and I have a whole video on that. So I'm sorry that I forgot to put that into this video, but um, I'm just going to assume that they continue to run that event because it's really good. It's 100 crystal pay-in, but you get 45 of your crystals back. You get 55 jewels. This is all in platinum tier though. But still, you get 55 jewels. You get a guaranteed non-duplicate rare from Legacy. You get a card pack from Standard. You get a bunch of runes, and most importantly, you get a new mythic that you can only get from playing this event. So that's, I believe that they're always going to be exclusive in those sets from playing that event. So the more you play that event, the more of these exclusive mythics that you get. And lately, they've been getting better and better as far as, on average, how good of and usable of a card those exclusive mythics are. At the beginning, they were kind of meh, but there's things like the Kami War, which is, I think, a must-have. There's also Anhelo, is a really cool combo card. And there's a few mythics that have been growing on me, like Kit Kanto, Perry the Pulverizer, and I think there's a few other cards that are pretty cool too. So there we have it. There's my breakdown of how to go through this game, how to progress through it, where to start, how to collect resources and maximize your resource collection and resource management. So I'm sure there will be a lot of individual disagreements with this, but feel free to discuss them in the comments or on Discord. Just keep it, adult. Let's not be children about it. If you have a disagreement, let's just discuss it that way. Also, one last thing, if you want to download this for your own safekeeping, you don't have to keep coming back to this video. I'll have a link to the download in the description of the video. Also, I'll put links to some things like the subreddit and all that, the forum as well, just for easy access. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next video.